and welcome to day 4 of the Big Family Chores That Work Challenge. I'm Tara, Christian wife, homeschool mom of 10. You probably met me if you're already participating with this challenge. If you're catching it later in the future, everything's going to be saved in the guide section up above in the Joyful and Confident Moms group, Joyful and Confident Moms of Many group. If you haven't joined, feel free to join. That is the group where not only this challenge is running, but all the action items that I post every day at about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, kind of the other half of the challenge. Because today I'm just going to share with you another tip for big family chores, how we do it, as I'm a mom of 10 with 11 on the way, and we've had to figure this out. As you can see, I have a new view. Some of you may not have seen this one yet. This is my office. I've got my entire desk covered with stuff right now. There's my husband in the background, like, what is she doing? Who is she talking to? They're getting ready to go camping, so it's kind of a flurry of activity. That's why I decided I would hide out in the office as I'm getting homeschool stuff ready for 2 weeks from now, where we kick off in September. But I'm pausing to share with you another piece of the big family chore system. Hey, buddy. I'm live right now. I'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Okay, perfect. I have like all my little fans around me. So today we're going to talk about training and how it pays off so handsomely. So I'll give you a couple tips and tricks of how we've done it over the years, different stages, so that we can, not just have a big family chore system in place, but one that actually works, right? Because if it doesn't work, what's the point, honestly? Then it's just stress and frustration. So like I said, if you haven't joined the group, make sure you do that so you get the action item that's going to help you go from a nice idea into like really making this put it into practice in your own life, whether you have, 3 kids or almost 11 kids like me. Also, that's where I'm running the giveaway. So all you have to do is comment in the group on today's video and on the actual written post, which comes out this afternoon. That's it. Boom. You do those 2 things. You're in the group. It's going to run. We have one more day tomorrow to wrap it all up. And then the winner will be announced on Saturday. You get a little tap, tap in your message box saying, give me your address. I'm going to send you a little something in the mail. So that's it. What do we got today? Training. So in training, I've talked on Monday, day 1 of this course. It's like a course broken over the week, the challenge, right? I talked about how like starting young is so key, but once you kind of get past that phase, you capitalized on their enthusiasm, then it's time eventually to level them up and upgrade them into actual chores and to actually take some time to training. I shared with you, we do an annual chore system that kicks off in September. And, for the older kids, they will end up spiraling back over the years back to chores they've already done. So obviously the training for them is completely self-explanatory. They might just, at that point, I might give them some fine tuning. Like, let's say they did the dishes when they were 11, but now they're 14. And I'm going to teach them how to really pay attention to like cleaning up the sink when they're done. I'm just going to take some time in September, just one-on-one. And I just sort of mentally prepare that over the month of September, even with back to homeschool, which is an adjustment. And we're going to ease into things. So honestly, like I try to kind of keep our homeschool rollout a little lighter. And then by October, then we'll be like full steam and we'll have worked out some of the kinks because it's new curriculum for many of the kids. And I just try to lighten it up in September because honestly, September for us is busier than Christmas time, which is saying a lot as a big family. Because we also usually do like the annual fair around here that we're not doing this year because of, things going on in the world. And it's just massively complicated to do crowd stuff right now. And I don't really need to do that with little children in tow. So yes, just taking the time in September to mentally prepare. Step number 1 is just kind of just accept that this is going to take some effort, but it will pay off just as handsomely as toilet training does. And any mom who's toilet trained a child knows exactly what I mean. It's messy in the beginning, right? It's like a teeter-totter where it's like 100% here we go, 100% misses, right? And you're cleaning up a lot of body stuff. But over time, sometimes, a couple weeks, sometimes sooner, it pays off. And you start to see this shift where they're taking more and more responsibility with their body functions as they start to make the brain-body connection. And the next thing you know, boom, you're not toilet training anymore. This thing's just running all on its own. And you're like, oh, why didn't I do that sooner? Maybe they weren't ready. So when you've determined that your child is ready for a particular chore, and I went through that yesterday, like what ages and stages and particular chores we actually assign, what works well in our house. And that's obviously to your own discernment and your own family context. Then I say in September, we're going to train you. So yeah, we do it after supper, most of our chores. So normally after supper, I actually take my laptop and head off upstairs with the baby who's about almost 20 months old. And I would just kind of avoid that whole after supper flurry of chores and activity because it's already been running on automaton for the whole year. But in September, I'm just going to step that back for about half an hour out of that time. I might get someone else to watch the little baby at that time. And I just make myself available and say, I'm training. There you go. It's that simple. So I will just go around to the different kids, usually starting with those who are brand new to a chore. That just makes sense. And I will do this system. I'll say, watch me first. And I'll do the chore in front of them. I'll say, just watch me. I'm going to do the whole chore. And I sort of like talk them through it as I'm going along. Let's say it's the bathroom. And I actually have laminated lists. I love a laminator. You know you're a homeschooler when you have your own personal laminator. It's a joke, but it's true. So I just have laminated these lists that some of the older kids now helped me develop a few years ago. And I was like, okay, what are the steps to do a bathroom? And we just, bullet point 1, point 2, point 3, with all the sub points. So like literally, if you've never done a bathroom before, but you know how to read English, you could clean the bathroom so long as the supplies are there. And they're all into the sink. There's a bucket of rags. There's all the little cleaning supplies you'll need. So I get to give them the list. They might even read the list to me and I'll say, okay, I start here and I go here and I just demonstrate. That way they can see like how much cream to use in the toilet, right? Or how many squirts to use on the mirror. Because a 9-year-old's going to go to town with the chemicals and the cleaning products if you don't give them boundaries. So I do a demo the first time. Maybe the second time I might do one more demo depending on their maturity and how well they were paying attention the first time. But then the second time I say, okay, I'll watch you. And I just chill out, whatever, scroll on my phone a little bit. And I watch them do it. And then the third or fourth time, then I'll say, okay, I'm going to let you do this on your own. Call me for inspection when you're done. So they'll do it, and I kind of, sometimes I might set a timer on my phone if I really think this child is more prone to distractions, because I have a couple kids who are. And then they call me for inspection and I say, okay, read me the list and show me everything you did. And they're so proud and they just go through it. And as soon as we're doing that, I don't really need to do inspection anymore. Honestly, within 2 weeks, they're good to go. Now, let's talk about what if it's not really working? Like what if I've overestimated their ability, their maturity? And I do set the bar a little high. I just don't want to set it too high. That's okay. Then September is our month to pivot. And I can make some adjustments during the month of September and I do some shift arounds. I can reprint out the document and start over again. That's fine. I just presented it like, hey, you know what, buddy? I think you just need a little more growing. We're going to try this one again next year. And they're like, okay. Like it's not a shame issue, right? It's just we'll try that in next year. And I'm talking that language to my kids all the time, whether it's like consequences or anything like this. It's just like, well, it looks like you just need a little more growing up time. So I'm going to give you that growing up time, whether it's like physical growing up time or emotional maturity growing up time. That's cool, right? No big deal. So the laminated checklists are huge. I've created those in Chores that has like all the bathrooms, and they're just sort of discreetly taped behind cupboards where, the public's not going to see them when I have guests over, but our kids know they're there. So I do some little spot checks throughout September just to make sure they're really keeping up on it and it's actually getting done. They're not just slowly sliding into how much can I get away with not doing, because that would be more of an attitude issue. And like I said before, I have 2 pieces to it, right? Mastering the skill and also mastering your attitude about the chore itself, which sometimes is the greater battle, honestly, right? Just to like do the list, whatever, you don't need to be happy about it, just get it done. Don't make a big stink about it while you're doing it. So when I do my little spot checks, and if I see someone starting to slack and slide, then I can, pull them back and say, hey, step 1, here's your first warning. I know you can do better because I've seen you do better. So I'm going to require you to like stay in the bathroom till you call me for inspection. And it's kind of like, it's self-rewarding because I'm like, if I don't have to be inspecting, you don't have to stand around waiting for me. And sometimes mommy's busy with someone else if we're homeschooling or whatever, right? So if they do a good job, they kind of, they get to punch out earlier. So we harness all of those sort of psychological tricks. That's just good life prep, right? Do a good job, you get to go home earlier, right? Like then you don't have to do it twice. We teach our kids all that all the time, especially with homeschool and like writing assignments. I'm like, well, you did that really fast. It's incredibly sloppy. I know you can do better than this. I've seen what you can do. So did it really go fast? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, because now you're going to do it twice. And I do that with the bathrooms. If need be, then I'll say, I'm sorry, this is not up to par. You can do better. Please do it over again. And this time, wait and call me for inspection. Boom. That'll solve a lot of problems right there, because, who wants to wait around the bathroom for mom to show up? It's kind of boring. So that's how we do it. And tomorrow I'm going to finally talk about and wrap it up. Like, really, what if we're getting pushback? They can do it. They've got the list. There's no excuses. It's not like, they bit off more than they could chew. But I'm just getting all kinds of like attitude and pushback. It's rare. It happens, but let's just be real. How do we handle that? How do I handle that as a mom of many, keeping my cool, but also still, meeting my kids where they're at so I can encourage them in life and godliness? Because chores are more than chores. Obviously there's a practical, immediate, short-term outcome for me and for them, but I see a bigger picture as part of parenting and life preparation. And having that switch flipped in my head has helped me see there's more going on here than just the immediate payoff of me having a clean bathroom that I didn't have to do. So that helps me be more gracious and patient, and also appropriately firm with the kids. But I won't get too far ahead. That's tomorrow. So make sure you do your spot checks, because otherwise your kids might be totally getting away with all kinds of nonsense, and that's, missing the whole point. So that's how I do training. It's simple. It's the month of September. I just mentally prepare myself. This is what I'm doing. I adjust my schedule accordingly. And then I don't feel like I'm being intruded upon getting it done. I don't resent having to train them. And I know from experience, just like toilet training, this is going to pay off. A little bit of work in September is going to mean a whole year of me virtually just having to do occasional spot checks and a little coaching. Boom. It's worth it, right? So make sure you get that action item in the group so that you can be in the challenge and make the most out of this. Even if you're like, well, I'm not quite at 11 kids, these principles apply in any size family, right? And honestly, like, the more kids I have, the more I get done. I told you yesterday, I have to invent chores for some of my kids because we're getting so much done, and I haven't had to mop floors or clean bathrooms or sweep floors or do the dishes hardly in years. So it definitely pays off handsomely. Last thing I want to say is, if you're really enjoying the content that I've been putting out in this group, I know I've said it before, and here it is again, feel free to pass on an invite to other moms in your lives you think would appreciate a mom's group like this that's, got a Christian focus, a practical encouragement from another mom of many who's completely real and just, here to serve you, because I'm just a couple years ahead than other moms who were like me a couple years ago, bunch of kids, not knowing how to really manage my heart or my home, and having to figure this stuff out kind of the long, hard way. That's not the fun way to do it. And having other moms in a supportive community and a mom you can connect with who's available like me in the Joyful Confident Moms group, that's something I would have really appreciated because I didn't have that. So if it's on your heart to just send out a gracious invite to other mom friends of yours, they get to choose whether they accept it or not, but I would really appreciate it. It will help our group grow and be a blessing to other moms, and your friends will appreciate you thinking about them like that. I know I would appreciate the thought, right? Especially if it's from someone that I care about and I trust, and it's not like some weird, join my group and become a bazillionaire kind of weird thing that I wasn't even looking for, right? And obviously your mom friends, not necessarily your dad and your uncle, because that's kind of no, this is for women. So that's it. That's what I got for you. Thank you for joining me in today's challenge, and I look forward to tomorrow, the last day of our challenge. We're going to wrap it all up and going to pick a giveaway winner. So until then, God bless you. Take care.